Okay, looks like we are live, and I haven't done Zoom in a while, so I'm just going to go with it. We're live. It says we're live. This is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, here with a really cool person. I'm a little buddies with, and I consider her an amazing individual because of one, her work, but also her dad's work, which we'll go into in a little bit. But she has the podcast called the Red Pill Podcast, which I'm pretty excited because that means she knows the inner workings like I do. So first of all, Kerri, Kasem, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Jason. It's so fun to be here.
You're very welcome. And I stumbled upon you the first time at 10X in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And we talked a little bit, and I stumbled on you again afterwards. And then I saw you on the podcast. I'm like, okay, I got to talk to Kerri again because she's diving down the rabbit hole. So we have a bunch of things to talk about. We're going to have some fun tonight. Usually I go into the nightly news, but we're not going to do that because I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing on the podcast and give us a little background on the podcast first so everyone knows about the Red Pill Podcast.
Okay. So I've had the Red Pill Podcast since 2009. People don't know that. And they're like, how'd you get the redpillpodcast.com? How'd you get it? I'm like, yeah, because I own it because I've been doing it for a very long time. I've been into finding out and seeking, kind of like a truth seeker, since the 90s, 93 to be exact, when I started really getting into it. Learned a lot of things. And what's so crazy is some of the people talking back then that were known as the biggest conspiracy theorists and kooks and stuff, well, all the stuff they were talking about back then is happening now. It's happening now. And so they're not so kooky and so crazy or conspiracy, right? And I brought back the podcast throughout the years, and I lost my co-host, who I've had forever, Ashley, because when we interviewed Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who's one of the leaders against, the anti-vaccination movement, and she had done years and years and years of research, and then was discredited, was threatened, was torn down, just trying to get the research out there. Look, this is what my research says. If I'm wrong or I'm doing something wrong, just counter it. But instead, they destroyed all her work. They destroyed her reputation. They don't put you in a courtroom. They don't put you in front of Congress because you could show the world what's going on. So what happened was we interviewed her in like 2010, 2011. Then we went to go replay it in 2012, 2013. And her show was completely wiped off of my computer, off of my engineer's computer, off of iTunes,
wow,
off of Ashley's computer. And then we got on air again and we said, hey, if anybody has downloaded the Dr. Sherry Tenpenny show, please send it in or please let us know. Every single download had been wiped. So she's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'll do shows that aren't so, conspiracy theory like. So we ended up doing some health stuff. And then when I brought it back, she's like, yeah, that's on you. You go for it.
So it's funny because I actually interviewed probably now about 3 weeks ago, Dr. Judy Mikovits. Mm-hmm. And I made sure to download I have like 10 copies in different places because I didn't trust it. And I joked with my wife afterwards because I sent it I lived it on YouTube as well as Facebook, like I'm restreaming this one. And within an hour, yanked on YouTube. Yeah. And I actually talked to friends afterwards who are in the technology world. They're like, you have copies, right? I'm like, I have copies. So the same thing happened to you. You got stuff stripped off, but it left your laptop. That's crazy.
It's insane, right? And that scared, I get it. It scared my co-host. She's like, I have a kid now. I'm kind of, I don't want anything happening. And lots of other things happen, little things happen that she was like, I'm done. I'm good now. But so I interviewed Dr. Judy Mikovits twice, once on my Los Angeles radio show on KBC, and then once for the Red Pill, which is coming up. So we had a hard time getting her on. Because
I was going to say they allowed her on what is it, KNBC?
KABC. No,
KABC. There's no way I can't believe they allowed it on.
Yeah, we don't ask permission. It pissed off a lot of other guests. So if you're putting her on, so my co-host is a lawyer, read one of these doctors, the Riot Act. We're putting you on. Yes, you have a different opinion, but we can't. You're saying you won't come on the show because we put somebody on and gave them a space for their their research, their opinions. Maybe you don't agree with them, but now you won't be on our show. Oh, read him the right act. The guy ended up being on the show. It was a good show, but no, we had a hard time connecting with her for the Red Pill podcast because she could not get on a Skype. We couldn't hear her. We couldn't see her. She said that's normal for her. She has to constantly get on different web browsers and kind of trick her way into getting on a interview. Couldn't believe it.
That's amazing. It's it's so funny you started off with saying that you've been studying this stuff for a long time, because when this all started going downhill in, what was it, March, April at this point, I don't even remember, but I've been studying this for probably a decade plus of knowing what's going on. And I remember I would post things, I would put out videos, and I was the crazy person. I didn't have a lot of views, and I was just doing it because it was a truth seeker. And I'm also in natural health. So I understand the vaccine thing. I understand the medication thing, the psych drugs, etc. And no one believed it for 10 years. And as soon as everything, I was actually the one who was worrying about everything for 10 years, going, oh my God, what if they do mass vaccination? How are we going to get around this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then when COVID hit, and then I started looking behind the scenes of what was really happening, and I'm a Q follower and all this stuff, I was like, and I actually calmed down. When everyone else panicked, I went the opposite way. I'm like, you know what? Everything that we knew about for 10 years plus, decades, it's happening right now. So you were kind of the same boat. You're like, I knew this was coming.
Yep. And it's been said over and over. People choose not to listen. People call them whack jobs, or they're debunked, or this or that. It's like, no. You know, if it's, you know, Dean Koontz wrote a book in the 80s.
Yep.
It's exactly what's happening now. You can look at certain books that were written in, one was in 1500, talking about what's going on now.
And there's a couple of shows and movies that have the same exact scenes involved.
That's right. So this has been planned. And if you don't think it's been planned, you can, you know, you want to do some research, do it. Look for yourself. But if you just believe mainstream media, we're in trouble. You got to look at what's really going on. It's very scary sometimes, even when you give facts, not conspiracy stuff, but just straight up facts about, if, you know, a virologist said this to me, an epidemiologist said this to me, we've had this person on, and this is their research, which differs from this. And then, it's not on mainstream media. If it was real, it'd be on mainstream media.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question for you. Kind of a two-part question. Is one, are you now kind of an outcast being out in, I'm assuming you're in LA. Are you outcast out there? And did your dad know this stuff was going on? Like, did he kind of have a...
Okay, so this is very interesting. My father was a Democrat and a bleeding heart liberal. My mom, a Republican fundraiser.
Really?
So yeah. So I'm right down the middle. I see the good on both sides, right? I see the good on both sides. What's happening now is socialism. It's not democracy. It's not a democratic thing. It's not progressive. It's regressive, and it's socialism. And I mean, they're literally taking a page out of the books in Marxism. How when they speak on, and when it's as any politician, and for the most part, it happens to be left. I've seen some not great stuff from the right as well, but for the most part, when they start speaking or these speeches, I'm like, wait a second. This is straight out of the book. There's a book that was written 12 years ago. It says exactly how to basically get control a population of people. And when I hear politicians talk, I'm like, wait a second, that's Nazi Germany. Wait a second, that's Marxism. There is no room for that here in America. There is no room. And over the last decade, I've heard people say, oh, well, you know, there was a guy, I wish I could remember his name. He was a senator, and he was being asked about the Constitution. And he was like, we don't, you know, that's not important. I mean, literally threw the Constitution away with one sentence. You know, there's no, why are people like this getting in office? You know, if you don't believe in the Constitution, you don't believe in what America was founded on. Why you have no right to be running for office, no right. And you know, go live somewhere else. You know, the communism. There's a lot of places where communism exists. Go move there, and move there for a year. Guess what? You'll be back here in a second. But I'm not happy with the state of what's going on in this country. I'm not happy with the double talk and the news that's happening. I I want to go back to what journalism was, the facts, not editorial, right? So if you go on my Instagram right now, you can see what I put up. Let's see. I cannot believe this stuff. They have something, it says this is the same day, both in the AM, and it says no evidence Black Lives Matter protests cause a COVID-19 spike, a study says. Oklahoma reports highest ever daily COVID-19 cases after Trump rally in Tulsa. Like, you can't have it, both ways, guys. You can't make up fake news like this. You can't do that and get away with it. Their journalists have now become editorialists. They have no interest in printing the facts. It's vitriol and hatred from both sides, right? Both sides. Fox and CNN are splitting this country apart.
Totally.
They are making ratings on the hatred that people in this country have for each other. Shame on both of them. Shame on both of them. Where's the common sense? Where's the person down the middle that can say, you know what? The left is right here and the right is right here. Why can't we work together? Where is that? It's missing, and it's terrifying. Common sense has gone out the window.
I agree 100%. It's very interesting too, because you said your dad was a Democrat, and it's funny because at one point there were actually really good Democrats. I mean, when we're talking like Kennedys of the world, this thing has taken, it's so funny because I hate the labels. I don't like the Republican label. I don't like the Democrat label because I try to be as down the middle constitutional as it is. Like, what does the Constitution say? What do our founding documents say? And quite honestly, we tend to vote quote unquote Republican today because obviously it kind of leans more towards the side of, we hope, constitutionalism. But the Democrats, it's a radical, like you said, it's communist. It's Marxist ideology, which has taken over our schools. I talk about that all the time. But the interesting part was there were actually really good Democrats at one point.
Yeah. The Democratic Party, it's not the same as it was. And the Kennedy era, right?
Right.
What a golden era that was. And I think that they would look at this now and say, that's not the Democrat I was. That's not the Democrat the Kennedys were. My opinion, I could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem, it's falling more in line with Marxism, not democracy and Democrats. Yeah.
Right. Now, you on the podcast, you have a lot of different people on. I've watched half of your Dr. Buttar podcast, which is epic. I love Dr. Buttar. Cordy was recently on, Dr. Cordy Williams. What are some of the things that you're picking up from speaking? And we both talked to, obviously, quote unquote, not celebrity, mainstream celebrity, but celebrities in our world, because we love them. We know they're speaking truth. Are you feeling a change as this is happening right now? Like almost a waking up with the Dr. Buttar speaking out, the Mikovits speaking out. Cordy, I think you have David Rodriguez on, who's coming on soon to my show. Are you feeling the shift when you talk to these folks?
What I'm feeling is one thing that they got wrong was starting to censor people, because now people are going, wait a second. Wait, if that person's censored, they must be saying something. There's other people like, well, censor them. They're dangerous. The minute you hear dangerous, okay, you're not looking with your own eyes. You're not doing any homework, and I just go, okay, well, that's all right. That's your opinion. I don't fight with anybody. If that's your opinion, I respect you. I respect your opinion, but I'm not going to sit and fight with you. But if you want to hear some truth, if you want to see some videos, if you want to hear some interviews, listen to these people. Some people do, some people don't. But the biggest mistake, if you want to call them deep state, the Illuminati, New World Order, whatever you want to call it, was locking us down and letting the people who haven't had a voice or who haven't had an audience rise. And now they're being listened to. And now they're censoring people they should not have, because they've created platforms like Brian Rose and London Real. Right. Del Bigtree. More people are listening to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Dr. Buttar, Dr. Mikovits, Dr. Wakefield, all the debunked doctors.
Right.
Now they have a voice and an audience. And I don't think the people who started censoring really believed that could happen. And it is. And I'm really happy about that.
I've always told my viewers that criminals are stupid, and they actually will always out themselves. They will always.
They do themselves in eventually.
They will always out themselves. And what you're seeing is literally them outing themselves because they have destructive behaviors that the planetary cosmos God, like it doesn't work that way. They're going against natural laws, which is what our founding documents were built on, natural laws. And they're going against them. And ultimately it's like a mass murderer or a rapist or somebody who steals something in a store. You're going to get caught because I guarantee you made a mistake along the way.
True. It's very true.
Now, you have been in the world of Hollywood for quite a while, even growing up. Did you know this stuff was going on? Did you, I mean, obviously, I don't think you were connected to it or know people within, but did you have an idea this was happening out there? I mean, obviously, and it's not just Hollywood, it's Washington, it's European, etc. But do people out there know that stuff is going on and this bit's going on for a long time, especially in the Hollywood world?
I mean, I don't think to this extent. I don't think that, I've known about the people who've run this planet, who really, the real 1%. They're not even 1%. It's 0.00001%, right? The families that run the country or the world Bank, the Federal Reserve. People don't realize that the Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank, and that every single dollar that goes to it doesn't do anything for this country. It goes to pay back a debt that we're borrowing from this privately owned bank and paying them back. People have no idea about that. I will argue with people who deal with numbers for a living, like big time, and I'll say, no, your dollar, there's nothing else. It goes straight to a privately owned bank and doesn't go anywhere else. No, that's not true. It can't be true. So, but it is. It is. And here, watch this documentary, Freedom to Fascism. My friend made that film, and after he started getting it, nobody would distribute it, but it started to get out, and there were viewings and showings, and now you can actually buy it on iTunes. He's dead of a heart attack. So anybody who tries to get out truth, anybody who talks about what's really going on with the Federal Reserve and the World Bank and everything like that, and they really start to impinge, they're not around for long. You got to look at that. There's a point where coincidence stops being coincidence. How many dead people around one subject, around one person, around one family? You just, it's called journalism. You do a little digging. Be your own Nancy Drew. Be your own detective, and you'll find it for yourself. You don't have to sit and listen to me say it. You don't have to sit and listen to, any other conspiracy theorists. You just start digging. You're going to find it.
What's the deepest rabbit hole you've been down? I've been down. I will tell you, I've been down. I mean, 9/11's not even deep anymore. I've been. No, I go down. I go down reptilian rabbit holes. I go down Draco rabbit holes.
Me too. So yeah, that's the different species that we have on Earth of humans. Sure, time travel.
I love it.
Agendas that we have the 2020 agenda, we have the 2030 agenda. If people don't believe that this was set up before it ever happened, you can look at was it Agenda 21? It was in October 18th.
Right.
They did an entire simulation of COVID, an entire simulation, including people doing fake reports to see what it would be like, to see what the news would sound like. That's all out there. That was taped, and that has gotten out. They keep trying to shut it. But Bill and Melinda Gates, you have the Clintons there, you have some big pharmaceuticals there, and they ran an entire simulation of a pandemic on October 18th, 2019. I mean, how do you argue with that? It's not a conspiracy. It's not there. It's been taped. You can see them.
It's a coincidence, Key.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
100%. It's if you haven't seen it on the wall, right? It's what's funny is, so I obviously practice during the day. I have a full-time job besides this full-time job, and you know what I have found about this is it's amazing what is shifted in the last 3 months. But I used to give talks in front of 30, 40 plus people just from a healthcare standpoint. I didn't talk about this, anything like that. I wasn't even fully doing all this. And I would have talks and I would go down the vaccine road. I would do it just to honestly piss people off sometimes, because that's I'm a New Yorker, and so I like a little antagonism. It's fun. So I would just say, and I will tell you, I would go into a room of raw public who did not know me, did not know what I was going to say, anything. It was dangerous territory. And the moment I brought up vaccines, and the moment I brought up what actually happens with them and the damage that they do, I swear to God, 95% of that room started nodding their heads yes, and they agreed. They were the only thing they were afraid to agree with it, but they know deep down, people know deep down that there's something wrong. Most people are afraid to talk about it because they're going to look crazy. And you and I, like, we're on an island. We don't care at this point because it's just about truth. The same thing is happening today. I have people coming in who, if I looked at them on the sidewalk, I would never guess that they are down the rabbit holes of what is happening right now. Yeah. But the thing is, we have enough people speaking out, like yourself, myself, others out there, and people are saying, okay, it's okay to say it now. Have you noticed similar things?
Well, there's people who go nuts if you try and tell them any truth. They literally, you're dangerous, you're an anti-vaxxer. Like, you can call me any name you want. I'm still going to try and save you and your children, because I have interviewed people for the last 15, 20 years on this. And why haven't they allowed Dr. Mikovits to speak in front of Congress? Why have they not given her a trial? Where is her trial? They destroyed her life's work. They destroyed her reputation. They destroyed everything. She has tried to sue them several times, and she can't get a trial? What is that? What's going there? Dr. Andrew Wakefield, same thing. Do you know that they've done tests on the Amish? This is years ago when I had somebody on about this. They tested the Amish for autism. Anything, it was where they're Amish communities. They found in all the Amish communities in America that there were 2 cases of autism, and those 2 cases that were adopted babies.
Wow, I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah, so look into that. But the guy who came, he got, I don't know if he's dead or if he got out. He's out of the country. But
we call that Clinton.
Yeah, seriously, he's gone. I don't know. They took all of his work once again. Well, they found the same thing in Germany with a group of people that did not vaccinate. That there wasn't any autism there. I'm not saying autism didn't exist before. I don't know enough about that. All I know is that there are hundreds of thousands of women that have videotapes of their healthy babies that were, they were speaking words. They would play with their brothers and sisters. They would look at them. They had a social reaction to people, and then they get vaccinated, and especially the MMR, measles, rubella, and mumps. They get this vaccine in 3-in-1, and they have massive grand mal seizures. They don't look you in the eye anymore. They don't play with their brother and sisters. They're almost just, they stare at walls. They've become a shell of what they are. Hundreds of thousands of women have said this. And what do doctors say? Oh, they were born with autism. You know what? The first year of life, especially for a new mom, you know everything about your child. You know everything. What they like, what they smile at, the noises, the way you hold them, everything. You don't think you're going to notice that your child was born healthy and then became mute, unresponsive, staring at walls? But there's not, it's a massive difference. Hundreds of thousands of women have come across, and men too. I'm saying but you hear this from moms. You hear a lot of moms. And in America, it's like, believe women, believe women, believe women, unless they are women of vaccine-injured children. Right. And Dr. Andrew Wakefield, who has been debunked, who has been discredited, all he said, he wasn't anti-vaccine. All he said was, please wait until after 3 to get this, or just do them singly. Get a mumps if you want to get a mumps, get a rubella if you want to get a rubella, and get a measles, but don't get them together. That's all he said. He said, what we're finding is we're seeing autism after the MMR. We're seeing it, and in high, it's not small. It's a lot of kids getting it. Just separate them, and you'll have less of a chance of getting this. What did the vaccine companies do? Took all the single doses of measles, mumps, and rubella off the shelves when his work came out, took them off the shelves. You know what they said to him? Oh, that's gonna, yeah. Well, if women and moms and dads start giving their kids single shots, we're gonna lose our whole MMR program. You know this is happening, but you're scared to lose your program and your funding, but you know this is happening to children. I have 50 doctors that have said the same thing. 50 doctors. I've put them up on my Twitter. This is 50 research doctors that have come out with the same stuff. But because it would take so much away from the vaccine companies, and because they'd be sued to high heaven and they'd be destroyed, what did they do? They covered up. Dr. Williams, who worked for the CDC, found the same thing. He got a whistleblower attorney. He was taped. He didn't know he's being taped talking about this all. And now he's shut up. He won't say anything, but they won't let him talk in front of Congress. They won't give him a trial. They won't let him. This is a CDC doctor saying, yes, they covered it up. But you get anger. All you're doing is trying to say, hey, look, not anti-vax. I mean, if I got, bitten by a rabid dog, I'd take a rabies shot. I'm not an idiot. I'd take that. It would save my life. But I got a tetanus shot in 2007 and I ended up in the hospital. And I got sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker down to where, like I couldn't read anymore. I couldn't think anymore. I couldn't remember anything. I had pain all over my body. I was exhausted, constantly exhausted. And then they gave me Lyme disease. I've never been bitten by a tick, but now I have Lyme disease and Babesia and all this stuff.
Yep.
I'm sick as a dog. And thank God I didn't follow them saying you need to take 6 months of antibiotics. Well, that would have killed me. It would have literally killed me. I would have destroyed my gut health. I'd probably be in a hospital now.
I've been preaching on that for so long now. And most recently people are asking me, I'm going, there's parasites in the vaccines, there's Lyme in the vaccines, there's GMOs in the vaccines, there's, you name it, it's in there. And you literally got Lyme and you never had a problem before that.
Never. I was not sick. I hardly ever got sick.
So take us down that road. Take us down that story. Because I don't know that people know you're sick or you were sick. You have actually gotten yourself through it, which is awesome.
I'm through it.
But give us some background on that.
Yeah. So I, in 2007, when I got this tetanus shot, I got sick right away. I mean, it was disgusting what was coming out of my body. It was just like, it was the worst sickness. I don't ever miss work, ever. And I couldn't get out of bed. I actually went to work and they sent me home immediately. And then I couldn't get out of bed. So I had to have people come and take me to the hospital, bring me food. I was so sick. I was so sick. And then after that, I just started to lose my health. But it took years, it took about 10 years. And I lost my memory. I thought I had adult onset or early onset Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. There's a year and a half I can't remember much. So
really?
There are people who have had conversations with me and I don't remember it. I couldn't read, I couldn't study anything. I had pain
so
in my
one of the byproducts of Lyme, ammonia sits in the brain. So that's why people get that cloudy thinking.
Oh, it was like so cloudy and so foggy and so horrible. I mean, I wanted to be in bed at 3:00. I could push till 6:00. And then all I wanted to do was be in bed and just get in bed and just fall asleep. I was so tired all the time. It was like walking through glue. And I could do something in the morning. I could get stuff done in the morning, but it was horrible. I took a flight to South Africa, came back. This is like a couple years ago and maybe a year and a half ago. And it put me out for a month. So the hypoxia in my body, I didn't have enough oxygen in my body. The Lyme was killing me and I was not able to get all the oxygen in my body that I needed. And the plane flight being so long it gave me more hypoxia, and it means not enough oxygen in my cells. Mm-hmm. And it put me out for a month. I was so sick and so gone. And I'm like, okay, I at that point I realized I have to do something big time to stop this or I'm going to die. And that's when I started looking for alternative treatments. And I had been doing, oh, it's your hormones. Oh, it's, it's the testosterone. Oh, God, there's so many different things that people thought it was. Oh, it's an autoimmune disease, got tested for lupus. My doctor was sure I had lupus. Oh, it's the anemia that you have. There was always something. And I would get a little better here and there. But then I found Cocoon. It's out of Hungary. It's a liquid oxygen. It's spelled like cackling, K-A-Q-U-N, Cocoon. And I have a video. If you go to my Facebook page, and I have a public Facebook page and a private one, go to the public one. You'll see, you go to videos, and it's like the first one. I think it's right there. And I literally moved to Las Vegas. And for 3 months, I was in and out of this liquid oxygen, and it saved my life. It hands down saved my life. Within the first 2 weeks, my memory was back. I had more energy. Second 2 weeks, I was up at night. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. We can go karaoke. We can go see a movie. I wasn't falling asleep. I wasn't fighting it. I wasn't drinking tons of caffeine. I couldn't believe it. And in the last 2 weeks, because it's 2 weeks on, 10 days off, 2 weeks on, 10 days off, 2 weeks. I was better. So now for a few months, I go and do that. I also do biomagnetism, which is unbelievable. Kills viruses, kills parasites. I mean, wow. You want to have a die-off effect, go do biomagnetism.
You're talking about all these crazy natural things that aren't quote unquote scientifically proven. I'm sorry.
Saved my life. Yeah.
I had to be sarcastic because, oh my gosh, they actually work. Natural therapies like nature actually work. Shocking. Isn't it shocking?
It's unbelievable. But I had another friend too that told me about biomagnetism. He almost died from Lyme. He had I'm talking wheelchair, couldn't write, sick as a dog. He had 2 biomagnetism treatments, and he felt like himself again. That's how powerful this stuff is. How powerful.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you are rocking and rolling today. You don't have any of those effects.
No.
You don't have any of those feelings, and let me tell you, I see Lyme patients as well. And I've seen people struggle for years upon years upon years, literally people who can't get even out of bed, who are literally sick in bed all day long because they're getting pumped with antibiotics and they're not handling all the pathogens. Their body's not getting oxygen. The immune system is down, and it just literally struggles.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible what they do. It's the opposite of what you should do for Lyme. You're making the person sicker, Maybe some people have come out of it. Thank God for them. But I know a lot of people who just get worse and worse and worse. And they stop working. They stop living. It's horrible.
100%. Now, I have a question for you, because when you were at 10X, I heard the story at 10X, which blew my mind. And now that we're going through this whole pandemic thing, the most hit are the elderly. And they're doing things with the elderly that are completely insane. And we shouldn't be losing this many elderly people to a virus because of we have Governor Cuomo, who literally potentially has blood on his hands by sending people into these homes, and then they died. And we knew it was going to happen, but yet that's what they're doing. Now, you have a story that I want you to go through a little bit on the battle that you took on with your dad when he was in his last days. So people know, because I love helping kids, but we also have to save our elderly, because these are their twilight years with their family. And there's so many that are not getting to be with their families for this. So give everyone the background on that.
Well, it's a long story. I'm going to make it short. When you turn 18 in this country, you have no right to see your mom or dad, period. If they have a caretaker who's uncooperative and don't want you in the house, it could be the house you grew up in, you're not getting in. You think, oh yeah, well, I'd knock down the door. Well, they'd send you to jail and you'd be in jail. You'd never see your mom or dad again. You have no right. If there is somebody with the power of attorney, if mom or dad remarried, and there's a stepmom or stepdad and they have power of attorney, they have guardianship, and they say, your mom or dad could be dying, and they'll say, oh, sorry, you're not getting in this house. And that's what happens every day. These are the phone calls I take. They are heartbreaking. I can't see my mom. I can't see my dad. My brother or sister have a guardianship or power of attorney over them, and they won't let us in the house. And what you find is these people, whether it's a sibling, whether it's a spouse, whether it's an attorney or a caretaker, what they do is they take mom or dad and they isolate them, isolate, over medicate, steal the estate. we see this all the time. We see it done in nursing homes and in assisted living and in residential homes. So when I realized that the cops couldn't help me, Adult Protective Services couldn't help me, and then we went to court, and there was nothing in the law books that allowed this judge to just rule on visitation. That's all we were asking for to our father, because in 2013, his wife decided she wasn't going to let anybody see my dad again, not just us kids, his brother, his cousins, his coworkers, people who loved him. She completely isolated my father. Now, my father told the court-appointed attorney, I want to see my children. Emphatically said it over and over again. I want to see my kids. Judge Leslie Green looked at the courtroom with all of us there with our attorneys saying, Casey Kasem wants to see his kids. Now go out in the hallway and figure it out. What? Go out in the hallway and figure it out. So hold on a second. My dad's telling you he wants to see us. There should be an immediate order, set up where we have visitation, but it wasn't. It wasn't set up because she had no jurisdiction to do so. There had to be a power of attorney, and we had a power of attorney. My dad's wife had a power of attorney, but it was signed when my dad was sick. It was signed after my stepmother told the United States of America, the IRS, that my father was too sick to sign any papers, and can you please, she had not paid her taxes, and this is why, because he's too sick and he's dying. It was written, she wrote this. And then after that, she had him redo everything. After she told the IRS, he's too sick to pay the taxes, he doesn't know what he's looking at, he has too much dementia. And so after she writes this to the IRS, and she gets, the taxes, she gets, I don't know what happened, but they didn't penalize her for it. She then has my dad do a will, do a power of attorney, do everything where he was not in his right mind. So we had to fight that. And that's what she wanted us to do. And who knows how long that would have taken. So there was no law in the books that said you could visit, if there's a mom or dad who's sick and they say they want to see their kids and there's a uncooperative caretaker, there's nowhere in the books that says they have a right. Nowhere. Now, if the kids want to see it, let's say mom or dad is incapacitated, they can't talk, they can't do anything, you can't get in to see them. So now with the Kasem Cares visitation bill, Kasem Cares is my foundation. If you have the Kasem Cares visitation bill in your state, you can go to a judge and ask for visitation. It's that simple. It's not, and if mom or dad doesn't want to see you, it's not forced. Mom or dad want to see you, you set up a schedule right away. And if mom or dad are incapacitated, you look at the history of visitation and you give visitation on that. It's that simple. It's a very simple bill. We've passed it in 12 states and 9 other states have adopted similar versions. So we've got 21 states now that allow that. And we're going to do all 50. So if you're having trouble, you can't see your mom or dad, or you think that this may happen to you, learn the signs now, because once you're in it, once somebody is put into a guardianship, which is deadly, you may never see your mom or dad again. So go to kasemcares.org. We've got lots of resources there. We've got the bills up there. And if you right now are having trouble with somebody taking care of your mom or dad, please do not ignore that. Please set yourself up right now, because if they do stop you from seeing your mom or dad, it's a lot harder then than it would be now.
Yeah, it almost seems like it's one of those situations where, like, people with wills and things like that, people don't want to confront the death aspect of life, and they don't get any of their paperwork in line or anything like that. So I think it's probably almost similar to that in the fact that, like you're saying, tips is you got to get this handled now, because you don't want this ever possibly occurring, because obviously your situation is completely insane. How would Casey Kasem not want to see his daughter, who we all saw you both together all the time? So obviously there was nothing wrong there. It was legal stuff that was put in the wrong place, but it held you from doing that. But well done on getting that legislation through. I mean, what kind of battle and fight was that?
Some states were very sane and they passed it right away. And then some states had these attorneys, these guardianship attorneys and these guardians that of course didn't want the power taken away from them. There's a great movie. You'll see why I fight so hard. You won't believe it. You won't believe this is, maybe now you will because of the craziness, but it's called The Guardians. Okay. It's a phenomenal film. It's a documentary. If you are not doing anything tonight, throw this on. You can buy it on iTunes, The Guardians. It'll blow your mind what they are doing with the elderly in this country right now. They're using them as human ATM machines, and courts are allowing it. The courts are allowing isolation. The courts are allowing over medication. The courts are allowing these criminals to come into people's homes, take mom or dad, put them in a nursing home, over medicate them, and steal everything they've ever worked for. You don't believe it's happening? Watch this film. Watch this film. They will literally, people will find you if you go to a doctor's appointment and you're living alone, or you may be elderly and you look like you need help. They're like the ambulance chasers. They'll go to a judge. They'll say, oh, this person's living alone. It's a danger. It's a danger to them. The judge, without even talking to them, will take away all their rights, take away, they literally, a dog have more rights than somebody in guardianship. In a guardianship, you're supposed to be completely incapacitated, unable to do anything for yourself. They're now putting people in guardianships that are maybe sick, have cancer, but they're all there.
Right.
Or maybe they're just older and they can't walk too well, or they take them and they fleece everything. They sell the home. They sometimes put their animals to death. They don't tell the children what's going on, even though that's a legal step, because it would be stopped. So they don't tell the children. Oh, I couldn't get a hold of the children. We sent them letters. They'll send letters to old addresses on purpose. It's a sickening thing that's happening to our elderly right now. Yeah, The Guardians, that film, you got to watch it. You won't believe it. You literally won't believe it, what happens in that film.
Wow, we'll drop some links there so that people can actually go see that, because that's important, especially with what's going on now. Everyone's life has shifted. Everyone has changed, and you have to be ready for anything at this point. So I appreciate that. As we head out, what I like to do on this show almost every night is I like to find positive things that people can do, because we are going through a shift in a paradigm here. And obviously we have to battle the people that are doing this to us, but people are seeing the silver lining in life now. They're seeing that they need to find a job that they like and they actually like going to every day. They have to find, time with their family. All these things, go help somebody, go serve somebody, like all this cool stuff. Now, I told you earlier that my daughter doesn't watch television necessarily, because we stripped off all the garbage programming, but right. I was trying to find some stuff like that I could show her, at least, that, so she could get a little bit here and there, but like stuff that I grew up with. So one of the things that I showed her was Scooby-Doo. And as we were watching it, I told her that Shaggy's voice, the guy who did that, mommy and daddy know his daughter. And she was super excited. Like, she was super thrilled. And then, there was radios playing and his voice was on there. And like, it's cool because she gets to see like, oh my gosh, like there's really good people out there who are doing good things. Now, you grew up around your dad. You are a very artistic individual. You are super artistic. I mean, you're doing radio now. You're doing podcasts. What was your life like growing up? I mean, your dad was a hard worker, but just by looking at the amount of content that was put out, these kids today in school are like, the work ethic is not being taught anymore. Give us a little background on the work ethic you learned just by watching your dad put it in, and now you're doing and you put that work ethic in as well.
Yeah, it wasn't even, watching my dad was great, because he was a very hard worker. But it was the lessons he taught us along the way and growing up. He had a lot of money. And as we got older, we would ask for things. And he would say, if I buy this for you, you're not going to take care of it. It's not going to mean anything for you. But if you work and you make the money and buy it, you'll take care of it and you'll appreciate it and you'll build self-esteem. And I was like, oh, this is a horrible. I mean, come on, Dad. Everybody has a car. Everybody, has turned 16, living in Beverly Hills. And you heard me tell this story, but I thought, okay, for sure I'm going to get a car. I'll drive my brother and sister to school. It'll help out. And I would ask him 3 weeks leading up to my birthday. I'm like, Dad, can you give me a hint? What are you going to get me? And he's like, well, his first hint was, okay, it's silver. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with a silver car. Silver's okay. It's not my favorite, but okay. All right, I'm going to get this. And then another week goes by and I'm like, Dad, come on, give me another hint. It's metal. And I, at this point, I'm like telling my mom, my brother and sister, we're going to get a car. This is so cool. And the third hint before I opened up that present was, it's got keys. So that was it. I was just so ecstatic. Birthday comes around. I go to my dad's house and there's a big box sitting in the living room. And I'm like, okay, well, my dad's not a big gift giver at all either. It was like a little present here and there, and that's okay, fine. But we meaning I opened it, and then I saw this big heavy styrofoam stuff, and my brother and sister came, and we lifted it was very heavy, lifted this thing out and put it on the floor, and then we took the styrofoam off it, and there it was metal, it was silver, and it had keys. It was my brand new typewriter. That's what I got for my 16th birthday. And I wanted to cry, and I was but I just was like, thanks, Dad. And then he sets it up for me, and he's like, look, he typed up something and he hit the backspace and it erased it. He's like, look, you won't have any mistakes anymore. You don't need whiteout. This erases it. This is how old I am, right? This is great. And he was so excited. I was like, that's great, Dad. And I remember taking my typewriter home and sitting it in one of my tables and never touching it again. Never. I was so upset. But that's my dad. I wasn't getting good enough grades. I didn't have I didn't have a job to pay for gas. How was I going to pay for gas, right? So of course he wasn't going to do that for me. Once again, you need to work. You need to learn the value of that. And that's the kind of lessons he taught us. Just because he had money didn't mean we got everything. We lived great. I can't complain. Never needed any food or clothes, thank God, but he taught us these life lessons. And those are, you can't put a price on that.
And you have the art of voice, you have the art of video, you have all these superpowers that you have. And I'm assuming he probably really encouraged you to live out the purpose in your life and the gifts you were given.
He was always telling us we could do anything.
That's awesome.
Do anything.
That's super powerful. That really is. That's and it's one of those things where I think it's amazing that you have just taken this whole thing and done what you've done. And I am so excited that you're still allowed to do everything you do in California with the way your mind works and the stuff you talk about.
There's a lot of people here who believe the same way. And there's a lot of people who are on both sides, they're, Democrat or they're Republican, and they believe something's going on and they're looking deeper into it. And everybody must do that. Stop listening to the mainstream media. Please, please turn off the news. Turn off the news. As soon as I lived with my roommate on and off for the last, 15 years. She's a crime reporter. And as soon as she turned off the news, her anxiety went away, her upset went away, her fear, and she started working. And now she's done 2 podcasts. She's doing the 3rd. People started calling it. It's like, get rid of that energy, because that's going to destroy you. That fear and that anxiety is going to destroy you. This is a 98.8% survivable virus unless you're older or immune compromised. That's the same as the flu. Now, I work with the elderly. I can say this. We lost 80,000 people to the flu 2 years ago. 80,000 people, most of them elderly and immune compromised. And if we would have read off every single person's name, and we would have gone down the list of all the hospitals that had flu victims in it, we'd be in the same spot we're in now. And it would have been a called a pandemic. We lost 63,000 people last year to the flu, right? So please look a little deeper. It doesn't mean this is not out there. It doesn't mean this is fake. And I am not saying that in any way. But to be terrified in your home, wearing masks and gloves because of a 98.8% survivable virus, there's something to look at there. But I'm also not, I don't want to offend anybody who's lost somebody to this. People lose, people to COVID. They lose them to the flu. Every single year this happens. Every single year. And it's a horrible thing, but it happens. And so I'm not understanding really at this point all the flip-flopping either. Wear the mask, don't wear the mask. It's on surfaces, it's not on surfaces. Now people who are asymptomatic they cannot pass it along. Right?
That's called criminals exposing themselves. They literally can't make up their mind. And on top of that, and I've said from the beginning, I never also said that COVID was fake. Now I did say it was a scam from the standpoint of how they're playing it, but there's obviously a COVID. It's also, it comes from the family of the common cold, but we are also America, who has the worst diets, the worst environment, the most toxic environment you could possibly imagine when you take in the cities like New York City, LA, different places like that. And we have most of these people are dying of actual comorbidities but they're getting COVID stamped on the death certificate.
This is happening everywhere. And there are doctors saying it. Hey, why am I being pressured to write COVID death when this person obviously died of stage 4 cancer or of a heart attack? Now, this happened to 2 of my friends on Facebook, and one of them was a lawyer, and they went like, they're going to get sued. And they eventually did change his mom died of stage 4 cancer, and they put COVID, and he was like, you're going down. They changed it back, and they lost all that money for doing it, but they changed it back. There are many doctors who've come out and said that they're pressured. There's a guy that I put up on my Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, there was a man who just left one of the task forces for COVID. He's a doctor, and he said he left because he was being pressured to put on every single death. I know it's up on my Instagram, but on every single death, he was pressured to put COVID. He's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to continue to lie to people. He had a Nobel Peace Prize. He's like, I'm not going to lose that, and I'm not going to lose my integrity because I've been told to do something that's not true and not right. Here we go. Here it is right here. Dennis Mukwege, and I could be completely wrong, Dr. Dennis Mukwege, hope I'm saying his name right, has just resigned from the COVID-19 response team. He declares, I cannot in any case dirty my Nobel Peace Prize for money. We had been ordered to declare any illness to be coronavirus and any death. In addition, the thing that displeased me is that after more than 100 samples, none came out positive. I have a career to protect, and I am Congolese by blood. Getting rich by lying is a sin before God, and I quit. You can look this up. Did that hit mainstream media? No. Did Erin Marie, the woman who was a veteran, who became a nurse, she was a wounded veteran, got out of the military, became a nurse. She lives in Florida. She got sent to Elmhurst. Is it Elmhurst Hospital in Queens?
Yep.
And she started seeing people come in with anxiety, not COVID, didn't test positive for COVID, and they would vent people with anxiety, killing them. They would also put people that did not have COVID in with COVID patients and hope that they would get it because they made more money. Now, this is all documented by a body cam. Is this on mainstream news? No. Fox News did put it on, but shouldn't this be everywhere? This woman, this decorated Army veteran or military veteran who came out, became a nurse, and is helping people, is now watching people die because they're purposely putting patients that did not have COVID in COVID patients' rooms right next to the beds, or putting on ventilators people that had anxiety, not COVID. Right. There's a problem there. Now she's lawyered up, and she's suing that hospital. And there's, I don't know how many hours of footage of proving what she's saying. I mean, talking to doctors, talking to other nurses. It's scary. It's scary stuff. And of course, she's being censored. She's going to be on the Red Pill podcast soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, but why is this not mainstream? Why are these people being censored, telling the truth and saying this is what's happening?
Well, I'll add something to that too, is I actually have a patient who's an attorney, very smart attorney, very logical, not like bought out type attorney, but like very, very ethical down the line. And he said, Jason, you need to ask one question. This is the first time I'm asking this on the podcast. I forgot to ask before. He goes, you need to ask one question. And he said, I'm not trying to discount death at all. I'm not trying to discount anything that's happened. He goes, but as an attorney, I have one question. Show me the bodies. So what he means is we have 100,000 plus supposedly have died in the last 3 months or more, whatever that number is now. And he said, if the media really wanted to play this thing up, they would show bodies coming out of hospitals. They would show freezer trucks backed up. They would show hearses to really push the fear. He goes, so my first question would be, where are the bodies? And it's interesting because you know what? It was a good question. And we didn't see anything. And I'm not saying people didn't die. I'm just saying.
No, there were freezer trucks out of a few of them. I don't know.
Where? Which ones?
It was in New York. They had them backed up
really?
To hospitals, but I don't know if they had bodies in them. Who knows? Because they did show, and there were people that would film the news, creating the news, putting the lines in, making people stay in the line, saying, you know, look, it's so busy. And then that was just for the news piece. They have But is that on the news? Do you see that? It was all over YouTube and it gets censored. They're showing them create the news.
Right.
They're showing them make it look. So they took a video scene from Italy,
Yes.
and they used it in America, saying look at what's going on in our emergency rooms. It wasn't even here in America. They used footage from Italy. This is fear mongering. This is the mainstream media should be put on trial for what they have done, the lies that they have told us. And once again, I'm not saying COVID's not real, but you don't put fake news together. You don't create a line of people waiting to get into a hospital and then say, break, we're done. Thanks for that. Movie's over. That'll scare America enough. I mean, I've seen the footage. I've seen it. So I'm not, people need to look for themselves.
It's called the enemy of the people. The media right now is the enemy of the people. It's not journalism at all. And you nailed it 100%. Others are nailing it out there as well. The same exact thing. My final question for you is, okay. I want, Kerri, I want your perfect, ideal Christmas vacation, wonderful picture ahead. What do you see life like in the next 5 years in America and on planet Earth if this goes the direction you and I and others want this to go? I know you're a positive, amazing individual. What do you want to see?
Well, we're going to see alternative health become mainstream, where it's going to get back to what Hippocrates said: "Let food be thy medicine." We're so far away from that with all of our GMOs, with all of our poison, with all of our processed food, with all of the sugar that we eat. We're destroying our bodies, which is destroying our mental health, right? It's destroying it. If your gut is not healthy, and they've proven this over and over again, that if you do not have a healthy gut, meaning there's parasites, you've got holes, you've got leaky gut, you've got all these different sicknesses and bacteria and diseases in there, you are not going to be able to be healthy up here, right? So they call it the second brain, is your gut. And this is I opened a company called Breakthrough Naturally, where we have vitamins that not only heal your body, but they're for emotional health. It's called Breakthrough Naturally.
Beautiful.
And I take them every single day. And I've been asked to, represent different vitamin companies, different creams and youth serums and stuff. I don't believe in anything, and if I'm not using it myself. So I started using these, and I said, okay, I'm done. I'm hooked. I want to be in. I want to invest. So my boyfriend and I came up with Breakthrough Naturally, and these vitamins, we sell them, and they've been tested over and over by 34 different studies all over the world. The best brain health vitamins I've ever used in my life. So you've got to have that. You've got to have health. So I see, Dr. Buttar talks about, this, he hates to call it alternative. He said advanced medicine.
Right.
Advanced medicine, and it is advanced medicine. It's going back to what our bodies need. We don't need tons of medications that destroy our gut and kill us. Not saying there's not a need for emergency medicine and antibiotics. There are, and they have a place, but you cannot stay on them for very long. You have to find the root of the problem and heal it naturally. And with vitamins, there is a woman, one of the executives at Facebook, that said, we're going to be taking down any posts that talk about vitamin C and vitamin D. Well, guess what? If you don't have vitamin D, you can literally mimic signs of mental illness. Same with magnesium. You don't have enough D, C, magnesium, zinc, certain things. It literally mimics signs of mental illness. So if you were to go in to see a doctor, they could literally label you with all these mental illnesses, and all they are vitamin deficiencies. I know, because it happened to me, and that's a whole nother podcast.
I'm right with you.
I got off all those psych drugs. I gave them back to my doctor. I said, I would rather die than take this stuff, forget it. I'm not living like that. And then that took me on a search to find what I found now in my holistic way, in the health and the advanced medicine that I found that brought me, emotionally and physically back to health.
Beautifully said. I 100% agree. And I have my own whole thing with the Zoloft and Adderall that they tried to jack me up on. And I told that story. And it will make you feel like a very different world that you're not supposed to be in that world. This is the world we're supposed to be in, awake, healthy brains, everything. And I agree. This is
when you have that depression and when you have that, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. It's like to not be able to get your mind out of it, to not be able to lift out of it is so terrifying and so horrible. You're going to try anything, right?
100%.
You're going to try it because I've been there. My God, it's terrifying to not be able to come out of a depression, to not be able, it's horrible. So you're going to try whatever a doctor gives you, but it can make you worse. It can not do anything for you. And then you're out trying all these different medications. Now your body health is getting bad. What I say is just, there's, if you don't get on, my vitamins or vitamins for mental health or whatever it may be, go get your vitamin levels checked. Go, please. Just by literally correcting some of your vitamin levels, you may come out of this. It's not 100% for everybody, but I cannot tell you how many people I have said, try this and try that. Go get your blood tested for vitamin deficiencies. And it's like they're living another life.
Mm-hmm.
Another life. And I have testimonials from people in psych wards taking these vitamins, exact vitamins that I sell, and getting out of psych wards after 4 years of being on 30, 40 different medications and 6 years out of a psych ward. I have that testimonial from just the breakthrough naturally vitamins that we sell. Unbelievable. We have people who have, and I'm not saying, look, and I always say you have to check with your doctor and you have to be a doctor supervised. Never do anything like getting off meds without being, having doctor supervision. Very important. But I believe so much in getting your vitamins and making sure you don't have parasites and candida, and trying that first before you get on medication, please. I cannot tell you, 95% of these mental illness diagnoses start with literally a health issue, a physical health issue. It's not up here. It's somewhere in here. And they'll tell you it's up here. And you'll feel crazy. But check out your body first. It could actually be a sickness, an illness, and not a mental illness.
100%. And I fully acknowledge anybody out there who has even went down the road of psych drugs or is taking them, because I will tell you, you can feel like you're in hell. So I fully understand why you do it and why, because it will calm down. It will make you feel better. And I get it, because no one wants to be living in hell. And so we fully understand why people do it. But at the same time, and you're not crazy, by the way, don't ever let anybody ever tell you, doctor, family member, friend, anybody ever tell you you're crazy, because you're not crazy. But you have to fix the deficiencies in the body. So I appreciate that, Kerri, because it's so true. There is so much that can be avoided. And I didn't know you had that story. So we'll have to go into that some other time, but I've had similar story too. So I fully understand that. Where can everyone find you on the Red Pill podcast, on Instagram, everywhere else? Let them know where they can get to you.
If you just go to my Instagram too, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I don't let anybody reply back to me. So if I don't get back to you right away, it's because sometimes I get an influx of people. But if you comment on one of the pictures on Instagram, I usually can read all of them, and I will get back to you. If you are having an issue with mom or dad, you can't see them, you can go to kasemcares.org. If you want to check out my supplements, you could go to breakthroughnaturally.com. That's breakthroughnaturally.com. If you want to find me and everything I do, KerriKasem.com. But I'm all over social media. Just put in my name, right? You will find me. And the Red Pill Podcast is just redpillpodcast.com. It's a lot. Put the links up. It's I had so many different companies and radio shows and everything that I do. So if you want to put some links up, please do.
Kerri, I thank you so much for being on tonight. I really appreciate it. And I learned a new side of you, because I knew you were doing a podcast, but I didn't know you were studying this as far back as even I was, and even longer than that. So I have a newfound, I already respected the crap out of you, but now now I will be following fully. I might stalk you, so just be careful.
That's
it's okay.
You can stalk me.
Thank you for being on the show tonight. Thank you for bringing tons of value. Thank you for bringing the education, all the stuff you've been through to help people. I really do appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you so much.
So for Kerri Kasem, this is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network signing off. Do me a favor, please share this out there because yes, as I always say every single night, we have to raise the positive vibration of this planet, of our people, of our country. And it's happening right now. People are waking up. Go listen to the Red Pill podcast with Kerri Kasem and her sidekick, and go listen to all the other ones, the Dr. Batars of the world, everybody, because it is happening. And we're going to be part of this. We're going to restore our republic and we're going to restore our planet. So have a wonderful night. Take good care of yourselves. Again, as always, go serve somebody, go help somebody. That's the biggest and most important thing you can do. Have a wonderful